It's not live.
Your access level has recently increased. Excellent.
Go! Go!
Incoming message.
Welcome, agents, to episode 48 of Behind the Scanner. Your host, Andrew Krug from Virginia, Daphne D. from Washington, D.C., Jorge Pedrero from Mexico City, Frank and Shannon from California, and I'm Kelly Colton from Chicago. Welcome to Behind the Scanner. Our special guests tonight are Christopher from Kenya and Vian from Canada. And joining us tonight for the Weekly Truth is our special guest, Susanna Moyer from the Ingress Report. Welcome to the show. The Q&A tool is enabled for tonight's broadcast. Submit your questions throughout the show and we'll ask as many as time allows. If you know someone who would make a great guest, submit their information to us at bit.ly/BTS_guest. Finally, you can watch past episodes and subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/behindthescanner. And now, your hosts of Behind the Scanner.
Right. Good evening, agents. Welcome to episode 48 of Behind the Scanner. Thank you for joining us for our one-year anniversary show. Got some words we have to say before we get started because it's a special episode. And we've been doing the show for almost 52 weeks straight now. I think we've had 50 episodes in total, a couple special ones thrown in there for good measure. It's been an interesting year. We added a couple cameramen. Want to say thanks to Jesse, who couldn't join us tonight. We've got Jose, who's our resident Operation Essex storyline guy, comes every week to give the weekly truth and catch us up. And we added a couple additional hosts, too, just so we can keep our heads above the water. Our first show aired Thursday, April 24th, and our first guests were Juan David Rodriguez and Jim Typhoon. So just want to thank them for agreeing to join us that first week and not having a clue what the hell to expect. The last time I looked at our stats, you know, there's been over 240,000 minutes of Behind the Scanner watched. We're really humbled and just want to say thank you for that. That's a lot of Behind the Scanner. We started this show to highlight the people behind the scanner who are playing the game, and we just want to remind everyone of the human side of both factions. You know, we're all somebody to someone, and I think that can get lost sometimes when you're represented as just a colored agent name. Our guests have included many amazing agents from the United States as well as players from around the world. We've talked to people from mainland China, South Africa, Ireland, Australia, Egypt, and the list goes on and on and on. People are joining us at all hours of the day, many times around 3 a.m. In fact, our guest tonight, that's what time it is for him, just to share their stories with us and you. And your stories have been absolutely amazing. For our 50th anniversary, our 50th episode, I should say, we plan to do a best of reel, so look for that. And it's just amazing to hear of people who are willing to share their personal stories about how Ingress has helped them, either with a physical or a mental disability, people who just want to enjoy the game while their government is literally falling around them, people who have gotten detained and arrested for simply gathering in public to play Ingress. So all of these stories really go to the heart of what Behind the Scanner is. You know, people have found love, they've found jobs, they've helped each other through some pretty extraordinary life-changing events. So on behalf of everybody, the staff of Behind the Scanner, I just want to say thank you for watching each and every week and for continuing to share your stories with us.
Well, there's no reason to break from tradition, so let's start it up. It's my pleasure to introduce our tonight's first guest from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm sure he has some crazy stories to tell. Please welcome Christopher Wasao, Agent Sipigwa, to the show tonight. Thank you for joining us, Chris.
Hey, Chris. Don't forget to mute yourself. It happens every episode.
I'm so sorry, I
It's,
forgot.
it's okay. It's okay. We do it all the time too. So, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm so glad that we could finally make this happen. I know that we've tried to get together for a while now. Let's kind of get to the nitty gritty of this. As Jorge mentioned, you live in Nairobi, Kenya. As Frank mentioned, you guys kind of look alike. You live in Nairobi, Kenya. We as Americans, I think, are blessed with a certain freedom and security that isn't exactly universal. And I can sometimes, it gets taken for granted, I think. About 20 days ago, 147 people, were killed at a university there by some Islamist extremists from the Al-Shabaab militant group. You started playing, in fact, 9 months before the Westgate Mall massacre happened. Again, the Al-Shabaab taking credit for killing 67 people and injuring 157. So although I don't want to start off on a somber note, I think it would be remiss to not talk about those events and how playing Ingress and going out in the public are kind of related. So I know you've done some traveling and you've got some perspective of how things are different from country to country. How do events like that affect you from just trying to enjoy yourself, by playing a geolocation game where it takes you from places to places like a university and a shopping mall?
Well, first of all, like those attacks, they're really scary, and they're meant to instill fear in the public. So like after, especially the Westgate attack, like going outside to do stuff, like even just going outside to shop or doing anything basic, became really hard because it made you second guess yourself all the time. Like, will I die today, basically? So the attacks, they really affected everyone, the general public here in Kenya, and I guess just everyone around the world really, because you don't know what's gonna happen when you leave the house in the morning, and it's fear, so it's really hard to like go about your life as usual.
So, Christopher, knowing that you love to build fields, how difficult or challenging is it to try to coordinate efforts locally in Nairobi compared to even trying to make fields that stretch across Somalia, Tanzania, and Uganda?
Okay, fielding and linking in Nairobi and its environs is it's quite easy because we're very little agents, so we don't have issues of an agent getting in the way of a plan, so to speak. We're all really on the same page because we're so few. So organizing it within Nairobi and its environs is quite easy because of that. Um, Crossing borders in East Africa and Central Africa, it's a bit harder because first of all, there are no agents, and if they are, there are no portals. And even if we have agents and portals, sometimes communication can be hard because like normally, like you see agents using Hangouts or Telegram, and like over here, not many people actually use that stuff, even if they're playing Ingress. So communication can be a problem when it comes to the region in general.
So you can only make fields and links when you have portals, right? So I imagine in the early days of playing Ingress in Nairobi, that must have been probably a pretty tough thing to do. Talk to us about what that was like being in a resistance agent before you changed factions.
Okay, well, first of all, this is the first time that it's coming out that I was a resistance agent. Not many people know that. So yeah, when I started, I was a resistance agent, and there were no portals at all in Nairobi. So like after training, I was kind of stuck because I couldn't do anything, and I wasn't familiar with like submitting portals and stuff. But slowly I learned like how you submit portals, and at the time, portal submissions took 4 weeks, maybe five, not 4 months or like a year like it is now. So like I started submitting portals wherever I went, and yeah, it just started from there.
So let's go back a little bit further in your timeline to the birth of, how do you pronounce your agent name, by the way? Sipegwa?
It's Chi Pegwa.
Okay, so let's go back to the birth of Agent Chipegwa.
hmm
How did you learn about Ingress, and what made you decide to play?
Okay, it's a really interesting story. How I learned about Ingress. I was on this really long road trip with my family, and we were driving, and I was bored, and we were passing through a town. And road trips around here means no network on the way. So we were passing through a town, and I got signal, right? So I decided to check the Android news because at the time I was into like Android routing and like phones and all that stuff. So I was checking out a particular website, I don't remember which one, and they had run an article on Ingress, which was launching, with the beta was launching really soon. So I was reading the article, and it kind of caught my eye because it was like augmented reality and like portals and interaction with real people in the real world. So as I was reading it, I got kind of interested, but I didn't want to sign up because at that point in my life, I had seen so many startups and stuff happening on Android that didn't come to fruition like later on. Like they would just die. So like I thought it was going to be one of those things that it's cool for a bit and then it'll die off. But at the end of the article, I remember this so clearly. It said Niantic Labs, which is owned by Google or something. And I was kind of like mind blown. I was like, if Google has this like has the back of this thing, I want a part of it because it's going to turn into something really big. And I signed up for the beta with my email address right there and then in the car. And yeah, got my invite a couple of weeks later.
So because of your boredom, that's how you found Ingress, which is pretty interesting, because it's kept you
More or
active
less,
for a
yeah.
while. So what does Chipegwa mean, and I guess what does it represent?
Well, Chipegwa is my actual middle name. Like that is my actual name. It means a gift from God or something. It's a Tanzanian name. I have Tanzanian blood in me, so yeah, that's where it came from.
So just a reminder for everyone watching, you can submit questions for our guest. If you're watching us via YouTube, you have to click the banner at the bottom of the video that says "Be part of the conversation." From there, just click the square grid menu icon in the upper right and select QA. We'd love to hear from you. You have described yourself, Christopher, as excessively shy. Was Ingress able to help you with that, or is that still an issue?
Um, well, yeah, it's still an issue. I'm not gonna lie. Like me doing this is like a really big step for me. And Ingress kind of helped me deal with that in the latter stages when agents started popping up and like I had to go out and interact physically in the real world with strangers who were agents. So it's kind of helped me get over that, but it's kind of still an issue as well.
So, Christopher, I guess I kind of outed you with my last question, but continuing along those lines, can you explain why you switched factions and how far did you get into the game before you decided to do it?
Um, okay, when I started, right, and it gave you the like at the beginning when it gives you a choice between resistance and enlightened. I mean, the way the choices are presented to you is basically that, oh, the resistance are fighting for humanity, and enlightened are like fighting for aliens and stuff. So, like, my instinctive choice was to go with the resistance, um, because I want to fight for humanity. I'm a human. But when I realized that there were no portals and stuff, I started researching Ingress, and it led me to Google Plus and the storyline, and I got really into the storyline because I couldn't play, and that was my way of playing was following the storyline and stuff like that. So I got really into the storyline, and I kind of discovered that I was more for enlightenment and what it stood for, rather than because the first when it gives you the first choice at the beginning of the game, it doesn't really explain like what two factions actually stand for. So I found myself drifting towards the Enlightenment faction more than the Resistance. So I put in my faction change requesting, and this was before like I ever even hacked a portal. Like my resistance account was zero if we had stats at that time. Like I didn't do anything, and then um I got my faction change accepted, and then that's when like I tried to start playing and submitting portals basically.
So, how long did it take for your faction change to actually go through back in those days?
It was, I think it was 3 to 4 weeks. It wasn't that long, compared to
That's
how stuff happens now. But
that's not bad.
yeah, but like it was, I didn't know like how long it would take because I didn't open my scanner much because there were no portals. So there was like I would do training like 10 times a week, but like training gets boring after a while. Like you want some real interaction. So yeah.
I can imagine. We'll touch on that in a little bit, but since those days, badges and things have been introduced to the scanner. If you had to pick a badge that describes you or your Ingress experience, just a single one that defined you, which one would it be and why?
Um, I would pick the seer badge for sure because at the beginning of my Ingress experience, that's all I did was just submit portals, and I still love submitting portals, except they retired the badge. What was it's kind of lame. Why would you want to do that? But anyway, that's another discussion for another day. So I think the seer badge because I submit a lot of portals. I've had a lot of them rejected, but I'm still chasing my gold. But yeah, I'm seer badge for sure.
Christopher the Seer. So you mentioned that there were no portals when you started playing in Nairobi. Um, Not too long ago, you posted a screenshot with a bunch of portal rejection notifications. Can you tell us how many portals you've submitted by now, and is there one favorite one that you'd like to share with the world?
Um, I'm not sure how many I've submitted. It might be 1,000. It might be more because I used to submit everything, like everything I saw that looked kind of cool, I would submit it. So that it's a pretty large number, and like 90% of them have gotten rejected. So it's kind of sad. And what was your second question? Sorry.
Well, how many portals have you submitted, and is there one in particular that you're
Oh.
particularly, that's your favorite, particularly popular?
Not really. When one of my submissions gets accepted, regardless of what it was, I get really happy because like it's like a new opportunity for agents to like actually play Ingress. So I wouldn't say I have a favorite per se. Like all of them are my favorite that get accepted.
Proud father.
Right?
Yeah.
If you could visit any place to play Ingress where Gina Steinborn does not live, where would it be?
Um, Probably Paris. I think they have a lot of portals there and a good community, and I've seen a lot of great ops coming from Paris, so probably there. But yeah, I just want to meet Gina Steinborn. I love her so much. She's my good friend from Ingress.
So, of all the operations you've been a part of or supported, even from running from afar when you've been running Intel, is there one that is your favorite? Favorite
That's
operation?
that's a really tough question. Cause can I give you two answers? I really
Yes,
liked.
give us two.
Okay, okay, cool. Unity, that Gina Steinborn was responsible for, was really kind of my favorite thing because it was kind of the first time that I was involved in like something really big and stuff. Because before that, I hadn't really been involved in any operations and stuff. So, and it meant a lot to me personally. And probably Operation Deep Cover, which was East Africa's first complex operation. Um, I didn't make that. I was just kind of involved, and it was really exciting because it was the first time, like locally, like we actually got together as enlightened agents and like sat down and properly, like planned and executed something, and it was really fun and exciting, and I had a great time doing that. So yeah, Unity and Deep Cover.
Well, my man, are you ready to answer some viewer questions and dive into this pool?
Yeah, bring them on. Let's see what
All
we
right,
got.
all right. So, because we've got sort of a special event tonight, we solicited viewer questions from the audience, and we got hundreds. I've compiled a list of what I think are the best of everything. There's a lot of duplicates. I've put them into a spreadsheet because I'm a geek like that. And we're gonna do something a little bit differently. I'm gonna actually ask Frank or Shannon one at a time to pick a number from, let's go with 1 through 60, and whatever number that is, that'll be the question on my sheet that I ask. So, Shannon, you're up first. A number between 1 through 60.
23.
23. All right. I'm gonna butcher everybody's name tonight, so bear with me. But Hu Shang Tai, Agent Husky Tai, I think, wants to know. If it's your call to add a feature to improve the scanner, what would your first choice be? So, a new feature, what would your first choice be?
Wow. Okay, that's a really tough question. Um, I have no idea actually. Um, I don't know. I have no idea how to answer that question because there's in the scanner, there's like so much stuff that can be improved. And I'm not trying to, sound like I'm hating on the scanner or anything, but like there's so much stuff that they can improve. So I would just say minor improvements in performance and stuff. That's a really tough one.
Well, we will accept that. Another acceptable answer would be the full address in the key to display so that nothing gets truncated. That's also an acceptable answer. So, all right. Frank, how about you? Pick a number between 1 through 60, and you cannot pick number 23.
I can't pick number. We need one of those ball machines with the air, just
Yeah,
throwing
there
balls
you
all
go.
over the place, right? I'm
Yeah,
gonna go ahead and go with 56.
56. Ooh, down the list. All right. So,
Yeah.
you guys are picking all the hard names. Bruno Miguel de Costa Martins. So, Bruno Miguel de Costa Martin wants to know, Christopher, what has been your biggest sacrifice for playing Ingress? So, is there something you had to sacrifice to play and enjoy Ingress?
I'm gonna have to say time. Ingress takes a lot of time out of my day, and around here you can only play Ingress when the sun is up, basically, because of security reasons. So I'll just say time.
So, that's interesting. Can you expand upon that? What sort of security reasons?
Um, well, in Nairobi, I mean, walking around with your expensive Android or iPhone phone during the day is risky in itself because we have a lot of cases of like robbery and muggings and stuff around here. Especially there's some specific areas that it happens more than other areas, but it's a general issue. So even during the day, trying to walk around with your phone and like looking down and tapping on it is kind of an issue. And at night, it just gets worse because I mean it's dark and like people can do crazy things to try and get your phone for you or your money. So yeah.
Have you run into that personally? Have you been a victim of anything or anybody you know?
Yeah, I have, and I know some people who have lost their phone, their wallet, their purse, whatever, in violent ways and non-violent ways. So like I know like my mom was carjacked as well, quite not recently, but a couple of years ago. It's like it's a big problem around here, security, especially at night.
Hmm. That's terrible. And you just want to go out and enjoy yourself, right? That's
You just want to go out and have a good time, but
yeah.
people have other ideas.
All right. Well, let's see if we can't find a little bit of a brighter topic. So, Shannon, this one's gonna rest on you. You got to pick a good number here.
Number 1.
Hey, I like that one. All right, number 1. Well, we kind of already asked this, but so you're gonna have to come up with an answer now. Ryan Wheeler wants to know, what's your favorite portal? Pick one.
Oh my God. Um, my favorite portal. I would say, okay, it's kind of a joke portal, I'll have to admit, but it's this gate that was being constructed, and I submitted it. Like, it's literally just a gate, like, being constructed, and they accepted it. So I would say that's my favorite just because it's really funny.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. You'll have to post a picture of that one so we can see what it actually looks like afterwards.
That's no problem.
All right. All right, Mr. Martinez, what number would you like?
I'm going to go with Sweet 16.
Oh, good one. Well, you know what? We already know the answer to this one. This
Oh,
was Richard Standifer wants to know, do you ever think you could switch? And, well, he did in the beginning. So um,
do we need a mulligan on that one?
we need a mulligan. We need a
All
mulligan.
right. All right, let's go with 19. How about that? Keep it close.
All right, 19. Amber Wedig, Agent Super Benite, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, wants to know, oh, this is a long one, let me expand the screen here. She wants to know, do you have any regrets in how you've played the game? Are there any events you've skipped or features you've ignored that you've been disappointed about that after the fact? So is there anything you didn't take advantage of?
Yeah, in particular, you know the Ingress first Saturdays, that were happening, the first
Yes.
round. Um, I wanted to like organize one around here, but because of time constraints and stuff, I couldn't really do it, and no one really around here is gonna do it. So like it was like kind of my responsibility to bring that to agents to this area, and I kind of slacked off. So I really regret that.
Well, I think your friends will forgive you, though. They're not
I
going to
hope
end the first
so.
Saturdays anytime soon, so that or you can just switch back to Resistance, right? So there you go.
No,
See,
never. I'm
I'm
never
done.
switching. No.
All right. How about you, Christopher? Why don't you pick a number?
Um, 33.
33. All right. Douglas Signs, I hope, wants to know what would you say has been your best unexpected adventure thanks to Ingress?
Unexpected adventure. I think there was once that Resistance put up a really big field um over a part of Nairobi, and they were going to win the cycle. And me and another agent just jumped into the car and drove to this portal in like the middle of nowhere. Not really the middle of nowhere, but like it was in a place that I had never been before in my life, and neither had the agent that I was riding with. And it was it was fun going to that place because I would have never ever gone to that place regularly.
Where was the place?
Do you want me to like tell you like you want me to explain like how to get there, or like
Well,
it was in a part of
you said you wouldn't
Nairobi.
have gone there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone there. It's in a place, it was in an area in Nairobi that I had never been, and I would never have gone to if it wasn't for that big field being anchored by that portal. So it was quite unexpected.
Okay. Alrighty, let's see here. I think we've got time for just two more questions. So, since this is your show, Christopher, why don't you pick the last two numbers?
51.
51. Hakan Fatih Kalkin. I hope. If I mispronounce your name, send your emails and letters to Daphne Dominguez, care of Washington, D.C.
Oh, heck
Um,
no.
Hakan would like to know, what was the craziest thing you've ever seen in Ingress or while playing Ingress?
The craziest thing I've ever seen.
So maybe not
Um,
gameplay, but did it take you to a place and just because you were there, you may have happened to see something that was just nuts? I don't know. Clowns riding on unicycles, balancing a midget on their head. I'm not sure.
um, well, something comes to mind, but it's not a really pleasant thing. Like, I wouldn't want to talk about that. It was kind of nasty, so I don't want to mention it really.
That's fair. Fair enough. I don't think we enabled the 18 plus on the show, so yeah,
Yeah, th
let's
this is
not get
family,
there.
so
Yeah. All right, so last question. Make it a good one. 1 through 60, what number would you like?
Let's go with 60.
60, all right. Franco Giovanni Sanguinetti. I think I nailed that one. All right. Wants to know, what has been your hardest, most difficult challenge in an operation that you've been part of?
Um, I would say time again. Because when we were doing Operation Deep Cover, we had a strict timeline that we had set for ourselves, and we had teams of agents in different parts of Nairobi. And in my part, we kind of slacked on time a bit, so I would say keeping time is kind of an issue.
That's fair enough, yep. You can definitely lose yourself in the game.
Yeah.
And speaking of time, it is that time for our BTS tradition. For better or worse, we give every guest at the end of their interview 60 seconds to talk about whatever they want, give a shout out to whomever they want. So Christopher, whenever you're ready, go ahead. Your 60 seconds start now.
Okay. I made a list actually for shoutouts.
Well
First
done.
on the list is Gina Steinborn. I love you so much. You're my really good friend, and I met you through Ingress. I'd like to shout out the Ingress Kenya community and the Enlightened Kenya community because you guys are awesome. We never really fight and stuff. Shout out to Agent Seche, Agent Shaokap. He's a resistance agent who in Nairobi. Agent MDL, Agent Maritime 3, and your brother Avocado 1982 for deep cover. Agent M Kenya 40, you provided help. Thank you for that. Agent Tavares from South Africa. Desmond Hopkins from South Africa. He's Agent X Factor SA, I think. Paul de Kock was the first level 16 agent from Africa, South Africa as well. Alex Klaberzu from Russia. You provided support. I really appreciate it. All the people that bombed me when I hit level 9 as well, it really meant a lot to me. I cried. And thank you to you guys for having me on BTS. It's a real honor to be invited to something like this.
Well done. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks so much, Christopher.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, man.
Well, we have a special guest tonight for our weekly truth segment. Joining us for our 1-year anniversary is none other than Ingress Report's very own Susanna Moyer. Welcome, Susanna.
Thank you so much, and thank you very much for inviting me onto the show, and huge congratulations for 1 year. It's a really amazing achievement.
Speaking of amazing achievements, though, you have celebrated your own achievement here. 100 episodes, that's no easy feat. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been an amazing. It's been about a couple of years that we've been doing it, and it's been a phenomenal experience. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, the reason why you're here is because normally our own Jose Antonio Rey, a truth seeker from Operation Essex, would be briefing us on what is happening in the world of Ingress. Mm-hmm. He's kind of our Susanna Light, I guess, if you will. However, for one night only, you've agreed to answer questions from us about the storyline, and also a few viewer questions. So, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Well, the truth is a dangerous thing, so if you're prepared to accept the risk, then yes, I'll talk to you.
I think we are prepared to accept the risk.
Good. Let's do it.
All right, so let's get this started. Jose, my man, what is your first question for Miss Moyer?
So, Susanna, let's start with a question that takes us back to the beginning of the Niantic project, but is extremely relevant, given some of your latest revelations. Why do you think P.A. Chappelle left the Niantic board and investigation to Verity Seek?
Well, I think that this work and being at the center of an investigation like this, it's difficult. And, you know, after Carrie Campbell's death and what happened to Clue, I don't think he could bear the weight of it anymore. You know, people that he'd been involved with had been hurt, and he may have felt responsible. So maybe that's why he left. And I don't blame him for it, to be honest. As for why Verity, we know, well, the saying goes, trust no one. But I don't really feel like it works like that. You can't function alone. You have to trust someone. And I suppose he trusts her.
Interesting. Many people doubt that Verity-Seek is purely artificial intelligence, and that there might be someone either behind the name or who biased the program. How reliable as a source of information in the past has Verity been, and what are your thoughts on who or what Verity is?
Well, the information she's provided me is often very solid, but whenever I get any kind of information, I always ask, who leaked that information and why? What do they stand to gain, if anything? So when we see a document or hear something, we're not always getting the whole story. The piece is normally given to us for a reason, and it's my job as a reporter to ask, why? Who is being damaged? Who stands to gain? Things like that. And as for whether she's an AI, Verity's an AI or something else, I mean, I've never met her in person, but we've communicated online, and it's just like chatting with any of you. So I don't know. When the Turing test is no longer good enough, what do you do? How do you know?
Exactly. The truth will only be revealed when the time comes. And if Verity-Seek is in fact a truth seeker AI developed in part by P.A. Chappell, how did an AI get access to so much information?
Well, I think there's no such thing as a secure system. That's just a fact. But a person infiltrating a system is like a fish out of water. It's not natural to us. We don't speak machine language. Whereas an AI, they are the fish in water. It's their natural environment. So, they can go anywhere or find out anything. I think it was easy just to access that information.
That's true. That's true. In fact, things like Google can index everything and anything. So
yeah.
All right. Well, so many of the former Niantic project members have simply disappeared. Have you attempted to investigate what the current status of Oliver Linton Wolf, Enoch Dalby, or some of the others are that are currently gone? And if so, what have you discovered?
Yes, I have attempted to verify the status of a number of the Niantic researchers, and at this point, it's fairly well known that a lot of people are missing. I mean, that's all we really have so far, so I suppose their status is just unknown, looking to discover more.
Do you think, kind of as a follow-up, that the rest of the Niantic project members present at Epiphany Night have recursioned or maybe become shards, something to that effect?
As in, after what happened to Deborah? Well, yeah, I have no evidence to support this. It's only a feeling, but yeah, I think it's a strong possibility that they have recursioned or become shards. Yeah.
Oh no, no more shards, please. Well, I hate them. Hello, Susanna.
Hi.
It seems like Roland Jarber's vision for the future was Setai. We know it has been inactive for a while, but what do you know about the status of Setai?
Well, I think the enlightened as a whole are very skeptical of AI. 13 Magnus was the ancient version of the Enlightenment, and they may have killed Alan Turing to stall the development of AI. And I don't think that stance has changed, even after Jarvis's death. And the acolyte said she would continue where he left off, and I think that includes his work to stop AI. So I think it will continue.
Fair enough. There was a person we know as Ben Jackland. What do you know of his whereabouts? And no matter where he is, do you think he has gone willingly?
I haven't heard anything from him in a really long time. I guess if I were him, I would have cashed out, found a new identity, got as far away from the NIA, just got myself off the grid, and maybe that's what he did. But I don't know. I've not heard from him.
And you once mentioned that an XMP contains some amount of dark XM. Now, in your opinion, what, if any, effect on the human body and mind does the amount of dark XM in an XMP have?
Well, I'm not a scientist, but I have found that personally, when interacting with portals, it changes me. I guess I see things differently. I kind of experience a new level of awareness, and I'm sure that a lot of you have felt that change happening too. And I don't know what the source of that change is. I can only confirm that I've experienced it.
Well, there is speculation that Hulong's investigations might be focusing on developing a dark XM-based weapon. Now, what do you know about their investigations, and why would they be attempting to manipulate dark XM?
I don't know the specific details, but I mean, here's the thing. It's human nature to seek knowledge, and it's also human nature to seek power. And if there's something out there that can be exploited, there's always going to be people that want to try that and find ways to harness that.
Sad but true.
So keeping on the topic of dark XM, we know XM is ordered data. However, we don't know exactly what dark XM or chaotic matter is. What is your theory on what these two things are?
Well, you're partly wrong. XM isn't ordered data, it's just a medium. And ordered data is something that is being transmitted through it. It's the signal being carried inside XM. So perhaps dark XM is a different kind of medium, or maybe it's something else entirely. I don't know the answer, I'm not a scientist. But from what I've learned, when dark XM and XM meet in places like the Congo anomaly or the 13 Magnus nest, really strange things happen.
We know you have a history with XM that starts with your father. Do you feel that you are sensitive to it, and how have you been changed by your exposure to it?
Well, all of us here, anyone who's aware of portals, we are all sensitives. Not all of us are powerful ones. We're not all as powerful as someone like, say, Hank Johnson, who is incredibly he's a powerful sensitive. But we are all sensitives. And I also think that when people are aware of that, when they discover that, it intensifies. It's as if we're gaining a new sense, in a way.
So when the Shonen logo was first revealed, it wasn't just a symbol. Yuri revealed it as a drawing of what he saw in one of his dreams. We know that Shonen means witness, and Yuri was at the center of this image. What does this mean if Yuri is the witness?
Well, I think we're all the witnesses. There's a very large and it's quite frightening conflict that's coming to light, and it's been going on for thousands of years. And it's, we've just realized that we're the newest chapter in that struggle. We're inside the conflict, we're part of it, and we all will bear witness to what comes next.
And then the last Ada escape mission in Kyoto was never found. Do you think Clue sabotaged it to not separate from Ada, or is something more sinister afoot, like Ada finding out what she was doing?
I don't know, when I met Clue recently, and she said both her and Ada wanted to go their separate ways. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but what I think the real problem is, how do they do it? I don't think they know how to do that. If you think about it, minds are incredibly complex. I sort of see it as if, you're pouring two different liquids into the same cup and then trying to separate it. How do you do that? I think it's going to be really dangerous, and I think they need to be cautious.
Susanna, speaking on something sinister influencing people, how do you think that Paul's school influenced Deborah?
Well, I'm not sure how he influenced her, but I do think he probably feels a bit betrayed. They worked together for a long time at SETI, and then she went to Niantic, and then to Visua, and then the CDC. And her work went to a new level, and I think maybe he felt left behind. And perhaps he holds that against her.
One thing I've always kind of wanted to ask people about is the glyph sequences that we see on our scanners. They're really interesting because they all have a meaning. However, some of them are clearly aligned with the enlightened or the resistance. Who do you think are the writers behind these sequences?
Well, I don't know for sure, but my theory is if your sense of vision expanded to include more of the spectrum, you'd see that we're surrounded by, thousands, if not millions, of other signals beyond just visible light. Things like wire networks or FM radio or cosmic energy, things like that. And I think that the glyph messages might be something similar to that. Many different signals, many different sources, and we tune in and we hear them one at a time.
So now that the Devra shards have been reunited, what do you think the future of Devra Bogdanovich is going to be?
Well, I mean, what I know about Devra is she's incredibly headstrong, she's idealistic, she's independent, and I don't know what part she's going to play in what comes next, but I think that no matter what, she's always going to be that person. That's just who she is.
Excellent. Do you think Jihan, knowing the recent events of the Shonin ritual, is a recursion of herself, in your personal opinion, of course? This meaning that it is one that has been in the world for a long period of time.
It's a good question. I don't know for sure, but we're really starting to learn that our ancestors possess technology far more powerful than we ever suspected. With modern science, we're basically rediscovering something we've lost. And I don't think it's hard to imagine that there was some kind of technology that extended life back then, somehow through recursion or some other mechanism. So perhaps she is. I think it's a possibility.
Definitely, you can see this about technology with the ancient resonators that King Johnson found. Now, Susanna, you granted us permission to solicit viewer questions. Hundreds of questions were submitted, and because of the quality of them and the time constraints we have, we randomly picked 4 to ask. Are you ready for the hot seat?
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
The first question comes from Sachej Maduranga. How do you view the Nasir? Do you see them as a threat?
Well, I'm a journalist, and I have my own opinions about many different things. I think that's just part of being human, but the most important thing for me as a journalist is to find out the truth. And, the Nazir represent a threat to some, and others, they represent an opportunity. But in my opinion, like all things, the truth lies somewhere in the middle of those two.
Now, Thomas Artiaga would like to know what happened on that day when your makeshift studio was raided by the NIA and you were claiming help to Ada.
Yeah, that was a really unsettling time. It was quite scary, but we survived it, and we always will. Things like that, and I said it back then. Things like that won't stop me, and I feel that even if something does happen to me, I know that somebody else will pick up the torch. Because now that we've got this story out, it's not going to go back into the shadows. It will always continue to be investigated. So, as much as things like that happen, we've started something that will continue now.
Our next question was submitted by Typhoon Jim. We haven't heard from your father in a while. What do the events of last year mean to you in light of what he said?
Well, it's complicated. I love my dad, obviously, but I'm not sure I can ever fully accept some of the things about him. But what really stood out for me when we spoke was the idea that the struggle between the enlightened and resistance, it's not a new thing. 13 Magnus wasn't just an ancient Egyptian cult interested in life extension. They're a force that have existed through time. They're actively pursuing an agenda, and it's the same with the anti-Magnus. And I think we're just today's version of that. And because we're part of it, I think we should really be aware of what's at stake. I guess that's it.
Cool. So our last question was sent to us by Jen Roberts, but was submitted by many, many people. She asks you that you have actually met a lot of people all over the world. Is there any meeting or story in particular that really stands out for you?
That is such a hard question to answer, because I've been to so many now, and they're all brilliant. That is a really good question. I think Pasadena recently for me. I mean, I went to my first Ingress first Saturday recently, and it was nice to see an agent-organized event, and I love what everybody does. But Pasadena, I think, is probably is one of the biggest events that I've seen, and the reason that it stands out is because I remember doing this when there were 300 people at the cross faction meetup at the end, and now there's 2,000, and it's just mind blowing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that anything particularly stands out because I really enjoy being there, but just to see how it gets bigger and bigger is brilliant.
Yeah, it always grows, and we never know how Ingress is gonna end. Now, we never know what's gonna happen until it happens. Our actions are only defined by what we do. From one truth seeker to another, thank you for taking the time to answer our questions tonight, Susanna. You're welcome to replace me anytime you want. I'm behind the scanner to deliver the truth to the seekers. We greatly appreciate you appearing on our show.
Thank you very, very much for having me, and I just want to say I think it's fantastic what you are doing. We get so many stories and so much information for the Ingress report, but there's only a limited amount that we can talk about, and I feel like shows like this are brilliant, just getting the stories out there, connecting people. I think the Ingress community is what is the best thing about it, and it's people like you doing this show that really help that and solidify everyone. So thank you, and good luck to your next year of Behind the Scanner.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Susanna. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
All right. That was pretty cool. But now it's time for everybody's second favorite part of the show. It's the code of this show. You know how this works. This is, however, yeah, don't cue the music just yet, Jorge. This code is not for the Susanna Moyer badges. I do have to preface it with that. We will enter everybody's name who submitted a question into a spreadsheet, and we will randomly select you and notify you within about 48 to 72 hours. There's a lot of names, so give me some time to work through it. We'll post your name in a private G+ post, and then you can redeem your badge for that. So thank you to everybody who submitted a question. Really amazing, interesting to read through. A lot of you guys know a lot about the stories. It blew my mind. With that, let's get to it. So happy BTS anniversary. These are your shareable codes of the show. What does that mean? We don't know. It could be good for 20, it could be good for 500, it could be good for 5,000 redemptions. They might have level 1 XMPs. They might have level 16 XMPs. I have no idea. They could be viruses. They could be nothing. So there you go. We'll leave that up there for a while. Jorge, you can play the music now. It's okay. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, I don't have it.
Let's see. We'll give it a few more seconds. There's 4 of them. There's 4. I don't know why I picked 4, but there's 4. Hopefully you've also been paying attention to my background. There's been some things laid in there as well. Some obvious, maybe some not so obvious. And going once, going twice. We'll go back to the default one. Thank you. Thank you for playing.
Well, now can I continue, Andrew Krug? Yeah. Okay. Our final guest for the evening comes from Quebec, Canada, and is known only by 2 letters, BN. So please welcome Agent C6X to show.
All right, there he is. So, for those of you that don't know, Vincent is deaf, so you have to give us a little bit of time between when we ask a question and when he responds. We've got a system worked out in place to make this work. He's a world-renowned resistance agent. We're really excited to have him on here. So anyway, when word started to leak that you were going to appear, VN, we received a lot of happy messages. So welcome to the show. And as Jorge mentioned, you are from Quebec, Canada. However, in our guest survey, you said that you hate the cold. Have you ever considered moving? Oh, we don't have his sound. Give us 1 second. Live television, I think. He had an issue with his phone, with his connection, so he had to use his phone.
One, two.
There we go.
Yay!
Okay. Yeah, I still consider moving, but if I was a customer job, finding the right router, the money, everything, I have to find the right mom. Maybe in the next book, I don't know, I have some opportunities right now. I really want to jump on, so I will say quite soon. For the moment, I just travel from place to place. I really keep a minimal number of tasks to myself. I don't buy a house, that kind of stuff. I really want to be ready to move.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. On a more serious note, people might be amazed to know that you are deaf, that you've worked with before. Do you have conjunctive or sensorineural deafness?
My hearing stuff is neurosensory. I don't know. I'm not sure it's the right English word, but it's due to a genetic mutation. So I can't really find a fix for him on this stuff. I'll try the detail because it's quite complicated, but it's not because I listen to too much Celine Dion. So for the social aspect, yes, it's quite difficult because how to say that when I meet someone new, I had to adapt to the way they talk, the way they move, to where the number board. So when I meet someone that speaks English, it's more difficult for me. It's always a new adaptation for me. I think it's the same thing as everyone when they hear Chinese or they try to speak to someone with a sign language. Um, it's the advantage for that is it brings me a different perspective on the world than everybody, and it helps a lot on problem solving issues.
Yeah, I bet. Now, has your hearing impairment helped or hindered the social aspect of Ingress compared to the stories you hear from other agents?
Niha, I like to blame him. Oh well, you should wish him a happy birthday today. No, seriously, when it's summer, I do longboard, small road trip, big travel, sometimes one per year. I volunteer also for Access.ca, it's like the biggest conference in computer security in east of Canada. It's kind of another hobby.
Uh-oh. Are we having technical difficulties?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. We had Nehal Mirpuri on last year, who is also deaf. He likes to take pictures of hydrants. What do you like to do in your spare time when you are not playing English?
Okay. Oh, that's a hashtag for class. Okay. Uh, One summer I do longboard. It's like uh, I like to do a small road trip, like for 1 weekend, to go try some footing somewhere, to go in the outdoors, camping, and one time per summer to do a big travel. Not necessarily a road trip, is to go somewhere far. Also, I volunteer for the biggest security event in Eastern Canada, computer security stuff with hacker stuff. And one is I will play Counter-Strike.
So you told us that you are like, quote, a traveling particle, and that you go everywhere you can. This is something that I think Ingress is probably worsened. However, you also say that you like to break cultural barriers without, and I quote, moving my ass off the chair. Can you explain those two sentiments?
I just try to find a key to go out of the home. It can be painful, sometimes boring. You have to experience things in life. I don't only want to work to earn money. I really want to experience different things. That can be food, that can be booze, everything. Uh, Physical travel, it can be expensive. You have to pay for hotel, for transportation. So why not doing it without the expensive part? You can do it with communication like back in the day. Had snail mail. So w- instead of snail mail, you do it electronically. And about this, I can be lazy if I don't Ingress, unlike some dogs.
And speaking of traveling, you've done your fair share, as was mentioned. What's the deadliest or craziest field mission you've been a part of?
A field mission. I have not been very far for that, but there's two maybe. Uh, Deadliest bath because I had to go in a remote part of my province I've never been before. And there's your summer tour. I went to a province I did not select yet, to Prince Edward Island. Yeah, for that list everything went last minute. It was the first time for something that big, so really the nervosity, the stress, everything went on. So yeah, it was stressful, and the tight timeline, and there was a fraud that was refusing bonbon. We had problems with some blockers.
Jorge, you're muted, my friend. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm
It wouldn't be an
sorry,
anniversary
sorry.
show. It wouldn't be an anniversary show if we didn't have technical difficulties. Right? We gotta celebrate the good and celebrate the bad, and it just happens. So try
I
again.
had a helicopter near me. There has been a trend lately with our guest. I think you might be a little bit insane. The last few have said that love the Sharks game, and you too as well. Uh, Help me understand why.
You really have to be insane to be part of the resistance. So you have really intense moments that create a bond, memorable moments, suspense, adventure, epicness. It's, uh, it's something really unique. It's epic. It's not really something physical, like I said. It can be remote, and there's really some adrenaline. And when it's done, you have you crave it. You want more. There's something missing. So it's like a drug.
I don't crave it. I don't want any more, but I appreciate those folks like you that do. So talking about fields and shards, OPSEC is a critical part of any Ingress mission. Talk to me about your opinion on operational security and how you handle it. Just the theories, nothing specific unless you want me to join you on a mission, I suppose. He's thinking. He's contemplating that one.
He's retracting all the OPSEC stuff right now from his response.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's removing all the passwords, so I can't join.
Okay. I messed on my. Okay. Okay. People should know when they have to ask a question. They should know when to shut up. How to ask the question. It's very important because of perception. It's not because you say something that someone perceives it the same way, so you don't want to leak information that way. Also, who you talk to, you don't really know the person, you don't have it in the other person in front of you, you can't read the number bar, so you really have to anticipate how the other person thinks. Even if you don't know them, you have to minimize the flow of information. I work in computer security, so you have to compartmentalize privately information. Or you can just basically say, I have to kill you if I tell you.
All right, now some more fun stuff that I think is fun. I love food, and I cannot have a Canadian on and not bring up poutine. Now, not Putin, the leader of Russia, but the delicious, scrumptious, heart attack-inducing treat from Canada. What's the secret for good poutine?
Let me correct something first. Putin is not from Canada, it's from Quebec. Secret for a good poutine, you have to have quickie seed. You can have like a great seed. It has to be a quickie. You can just pass through the seed. Really important. You may find it disgusting, but it's a sweet curd. It's very good. It's soft. It's fast. So yeah.
Now, I hear that there's a place in Montreal called Poutineville that offers poutine reinvented, allowing patrons to customize their plates of poutine. Now, what is the strangest poutine combination you've either had or heard of?
Yeah. Okay. You said Poutineville in Montreal. I go better to La Bounty because they have more correct choice. You can't just put everything. I don't want to see my fries soaked in whey sauce or something. For me, the perfect poutine is bacon, raw onions, sausage. Yeah. The weirdest combination I saw is at Waffle House in USA. It was in South Carolina, if I remember correctly. It was a blueberry waffle, half potato, ice cream, and marshmallow.
Oh my
So,
God.
not very good.
No.
I don't think even I would try that. All right, Jorge, you're muted again.
No.
Jorge, one more time, and I think you get to operate the cameras next time.
Oh my God! It's about the planes and helicopters. I don't know what's happening here, but
First time,
enough
right?
about the food. Enough about the food. You're making me hungry, and that's not good for me. So let's get back to Ingress. You're a tech junkie, an augmented reality junkie, and an info junkie. Look into your crystal ball and predict where Ingress will be in a year from now and any innovations or new aspects that may be introduced to it.
Boy, if Ingress is still around, maybe we have 32 levels, I don't know, two medals, two mass medals, and a lot of robots or shooters. It's not really what I want to see. We really need better internet, complete reference to shooting. We have to condemn it to stop it so people can continue to have fun. That's a game that costs money, so we want to people to be willing to go that way. Uh, but bug fix too. We have seen a lot of features implement, and we don't have a reference to bug fix. So maybe next year, I don't know. It's something I really wish to do. Uh, yep. Okay.
Right. Now, out of all your Ingress memories, what is an example of the most extreme experiences that you've had, both good and bad?
Yeah. Uh, this one. The greatest thing to succeed is it's not really you, you've never convinced it will really work, so you really need to be convinced of something, and if you can be involved in an operation and not be aware of how big it is, it's part of operational security. Uh, is in the United, I had that kind of a situation. It was really impressive. I just had to solve it from a friendly photo, and it happened. We see our scanner. We were to launch, and someone said, "Look at this car. It's really weird. It got up. It was really a special moment." Bad thing, I don't know. Good thing. I had a local event involving a car crash. It was really something not easy. You feel like a culprit of that. And also the moment when in the US Summer operating, I had to give away the key for a big link because of a bug, maybe a functionality, I don't know, but I had to give it away. It was kind of heartbreaking moment.
I think I remember the story of the car accident. It's not an easy thing. But hopefully we can lighten the mood a little bit now. It's time for the viewer questions. So just like we did with Christopher, we're going to pick some numbers here. So, are you ready for the viewer questions?
Yep, ready.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. Miss Daphne, pick a number between 1 through. Let's see. We've got 68 in this case.
Because I know I would have gone higher than that.
We don't have 69. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go with 55.
All right, number 55 is Agent. I assume it's Agent. Now get the chance is the person's name. They want to know what portal was the most difficult to capture.
Okay, boy, that's a hard question. Okay, yeah, that one. When I went on travel in Africa, in Namibia, I had a really old phone and I had no idea how the phone network was working. And that was quite a hard for me. And it was an old phone, so it was really like, it took me like 1 hour in the middle of the desert. It was really fun. it's quite an experience, but yeah, I think how that works.
An old phone in a foreign land. I can definitely imagine how that would be hard. So, all right, Jorge, pick number 1 through 68, and you cannot pick 55.
7.
7. Let's see. David Timothy, Agent Lance, wants to know: you seem to travel a lot. What are your uniques like?
Unique, I'm at about 7,000 right now. Maybe I expect
Wow.
2,000 in the next month. Maybe I get my platinum soon. I don't know. I hope so.
I think I'm still at like 100.
Well, I'll send an invitation to DC. No?
You said what, 18?
No. If he comes to DC, we'll certainly give him some more uniques over here.
All right, so Miss Parker, pick a number.
Yes, number 52.
52. You guys are making me scroll all the way up and down. All right, let's see. Hopefully a future guest. Caroline Bora Joan, Mother of Dragons, wants to know: what is your Ingress strength?
My strength is what? Not an easy question.
To be your
it's easy for me to adapt because I have to every day because of my difficulty to communicate sometimes. So I have my hard of feeling situation. So I really need to adapt. I need to find different tips for that. It can be a language, it can be situation, it's a different perception, and that's a strength because often other people would think all the same way. So I can suggest a solution that is like way out of the way, but in the end, not that bad. And yeah.
You have to admit it, I've heard it's your liver. Everybody's saying it's your liver. There's a lot of questions about drinking in this as he reaches for the bottle. Nice. All right. Jorge, pick a number.
34.
34. All right. And he's pouring a drink on the air, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God, he's drinking now.
The rumors are true. All right. Ruben Escanola wants to know: how much money? Ooh, that's a good one. How much money have you invested in Ingress? How much have you spent driving around?
It's hard to say because I really try to combine Ingress with other things like travel. I don't always travel only for Ingress, you know. It's, like lately I went to New York, so I went to have fun with friends, but I also had a US SIM card to play Ingress. In a matter of money, I say maybe 1,000, 2,000. Maybe a little bit more. I don't really count.
It's probably better not to count. Okay, let's do 2 more questions to it. Yeah, we see it. There you go. Tequila. See, his strength is his liver. Nice. All right, Daphne. We'll do 2 more. So you pick one.
42.
42. All right. Jeffrey Zabala wants to know: what features would you most like to see added to the Ingress Intel map?
What we got in IITC about that?
I knew it.
We will accept that answer. Yes, that will work. All right, Jorge, go ahead, pick one.
61.
61. All right. Last question is from, oh my gosh, Theory Lofkin, I think, maybe. How many pairs of shoes have you ruined while playing Ingress?
That's a good one.
Oh.
like I said, I don't always only Ingress. I can do longboard and that kind of stuff. And this longboard that is really going hard on the food. This is,
Okay, guys. Cheers. Well, it's now your turn, man, to talk for 60 seconds about anything you want. Whenever you are ready, you can start.
Hi everyone. Uh, Hi everybody. Uh, I really don't know. Uh, when I was reading the questions from the viewers and everything, there was a lot of questions asking if I want to go to say Japan, Mexico, and everything. Um, I want to go everywhere, so it's not an easy question. So there was some question about each faction, how to interact with members of the other faction, and also with members of your own faction. It's something that would be taught more often. We should be more respectful sometimes. There's a difference in culture that we don't always think of, and it really causes friction. It's something we all sort of work on. We have to be decent. We want to see in the world. There's war in the world at many places. We can work to improve that. There's also climate change. Temperature is increasing. It's warm at some place. Icebergs are melting. So why not everybody? We should walk more instead of ingressing in cars. I don't know. Just a talk like that. That's about it.
Well, BN.
Wait. We have a special question from a special person. I think we need to ask him. So, Brian Rose actually has a question for you, BN.
Privilege. He wants a badge code. That's why.
Should we give Brian Rose a badge code? Yeah. So he wants to know, how would you update let me get this right. How would you update how the shards work to encourage more agents to participate and get involved?
More all-nighter.
It's a combination of factors. I say don't burn out or haven't on everything. Like you have artifacts, anomaly, and anomaly. Sometimes we have to stop a little bit. We have to have something a little bit different. It's not because you spend 6 hours to 1 hour that it will be very different. We need something more interesting, more interactive, and that does not burn out people. Like when you did for the Google I/O event, it was in 24 hours. Cities all over the world, one place there, one place. It was very fun. It was something really different. Another idea I could give is like the game virus. You have to control the virus, say a third faction, a red portal that will propagate to the next portal and the next portal, and you have to circulate with something. You have to innovate to find a better idea. Also, you really need to have a better welcome to shooting because a lot of agents do not want to avoid because, oh, there's a shooter there, they don't do anything. I'm not gonna spend any money. Yeah, that's it.
Well, that's a good idea. Finally, and before he gets really drunk, BN, we have to say to you, thank you so much for the effort and for joining us tonight. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you again for coming.
Yeah, it's so nice having you on.
All right.
Thanks, VN.
My pleasure.
I guess.
Well, and thank you everyone for watching this special anniversary show. curiously. And it's been a pleasure to be here for a complete year. And, well, thank you for all my partners in crime. Thank you.
Yeah, it has been a fun year. So thanks, everyone. Good night. And I think Andrew would like to say, join us next week. Happy hacking.
Yeah, you have to take Andrew back to the Hangout so he can play the video outro.
Play our credits.
Yeah. But it has been fun, guys.
It's been an amazing year.
I know.
This has been one of the weirdest episodes ever in terms of stuff going on. We got Jorge muting himself twice. We got Kelly, who invited everybody to run the show and be the cameraman. We got myself, who the last 5 minutes I keep getting booted out of the Hangouts and my computer's gone to sleep. Yeah, wow.
It wouldn't be a good anniversary show without every technical glitch we've ever had.
Like, man, actually working. I'm really kind of happy now it's working.
No kidding. That's amazing.
God, what'll happen next year?